Speak briefly about your online solution because folks, you have to understand something here. Not only have I known Tom for a very long time, he's always been on the cutting edge, specifically as it relates to the consumer and creating an experience. Can you speak a little bit about what you did online? Because it was revolutionary at the time when you did it.
So actually, as a result of the 2008 financial crisis, when we had the banking crisis, what happened overnight was banks stopped lending. Credit cards, prior to that, you could get a credit card if you were 16 years old. They were sending you credit cards with $20,000 open to buy, and credit card creditors did not look at each other. So if you were paying Discover Card on time in January, you could go to Visa in February and so on and so forth. That all stopped during the last financial crisis, and it literally choked our economy because there was no more credit available to consumers. And it took 10 years for that to change. So FICO today, as you know, they look at your credit score every day. The average person today has their credit score looked at thousands of times, as opposed to maybe 20 times in 2008. So what we had to do in 2008 to survive was we needed to come up with a new model, which we called Nice People Collect More. And really the genesis of that was a couple of things. First of all, we created what we called a virtual collector, a self-service portal with an avatar that took a friendly approach and walked somebody through the options of paying their bill. The second thing was credit education. We wanted to educate people on why having good credit was so important. So we created a web presence called whycreditmatters.net. And the approach that we took was completely different in that when we approach a customer, even today, like during this period, for example, first question we ask is, how are you doing? Is anyone in your family affected by the virus or in your business? If they are, we have a status code for that, so on and so forth. And then we start talking about, stimulus option. Have you looked at the EIDL possibilities? Are you familiar with the PPP program?
We're working with them.
Okay. And we educate them on the programs that are out there. And we also educate them on the fact that right now there are a lot of scammers that are using the PPP program to scam them out of money.
Great point.
Okay. So it's important that they go to the right site, which is the SBA or their local lender, depending on what they're trying to do. And, in our, we call our virtual collector Zoe. So this month, Zoe's average payment size is up 16% over last year. So our average payment is around $510.
Wow.
Our number of payments over last year is up 8%. If I go back to January, January was our best month ever before all this started. Our average payment in April is up from January.
Wow.
Now, what that tells me is, and we even see it, consumers and businesses are going online right now and self-serving and paying bills in full because they have extra money right now. So if they have, if we can get out of this thing without long-term damage, it honestly could put a lot of small businesses in a much stronger position than they were before.
It's interesting. I spoke to somebody earlier who referred to their agents as almost financial advisors.
Sure.
I thought about that for a second. And I said, who else other than the bill collectors, the agents, the front end, the people you have on the call, who else other than them are providing the kind of advice that consumers and small businesses need in a marketplace like this? I didn't even think of the people who are trying to rip you off. I thought about just navigating through these waters and figuring things out. Q&A. You shut down bill collectors, you're shutting down not only a major part of the economy, an essential part of capitalism.
Yep.
And if that goes away, we might as well become a socialistic economy. All indications are based on the voting. Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren not being selected, but Bernie being selected. The world isn't ready for that yet. We don't want that now. But you know, when you think about where you are and your frontline people, they're providing tremendous value add services free of any charge. You know,
Right.
that's not what they're getting paid for. They're getting paid to recover past dues. So it's an adjunct that I think is necessary and really everybody should be thinking about. Let me ask you, Tom. You know, you're at home now. Who else is it? No, you're not, maybe you're not at home right this second, but who are you at home with at nights these days?
So
Yourself?
I'm really blessed. I have my wonderful wife of 40 years, who's the CEO of this company, and I have my daughter Tara and my granddaughter Alice, who's
Wow,
5.
awesome.
So I have plenty to do when I'm home because I'm usually playing dollies. We're out in the yard when I'm not here,
Oh, Dolly.
and we're just having a great. She thinks that this pandemic is the greatest thing that her and the dogs
The
are
dog.
happy, right?
My
Because all
dog.
of a sudden everybody's home and paying attention.
My dogs, they don't get their naps in anymore. They can't wait for me to go back to my office.
I know they're exhausted, right?
They're exhausted every day. It's great. It's really great. Are you binge watching anything funny? Are you a Netflix guy? Are you ingrained in any particular shows?
So I really love. So when I'm looking for a little weird humor, Better Call Saul.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, which is the Breaking Bad thing, and
Yeah,
Saul was the attorney.
yeah.
And I just started watching Medici, which is very interesting.
I heard about that show.
Really great.
It is good.
Yeah, really good.
If you like Tom Clancy and the movies that he's put out, which you know the Harrison Ford, the
Sure.
action-packed movies, Patriot Games, and the like, started the show called. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called Jack Ryan.
Oh yeah,
Very good. And you
yeah,
know, over the fact that the guy was on, you know, The Office before he was
yeah.
on Jack Ryan, right?
John.
CIA guy from The Office, but
Yeah.
he does a nice job. He really, it's a good show. It's a good show.
Well, we need something other than the news for sure.
The news is just not watchable anymore. Absolutely not watchable. For me, my sleeping patterns have changed so dramatically, Tom. I mean, I'm a very sound sleeper, but I'm getting up at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning every single day.
Right.
Sometimes just for a couple hours, sometimes for the rest of the day.
Hmm.
And it's because, you know, I'm not moving. It's I mean, I find time to move, but I'm not going to an airport, I'm not traveling, I'm
Right.
not sleeping out, I'm not late nighting anymore. It's different. It really is different. And for that Saturday, I hope this thing passes soon because I do like to travel.
Well, let's make a date to get together for lunch as soon as this thing is over.
Tom, this is great. Thank you very much. Tom Gillespie, our friends from Hunt Valley, Maryland.
Hey, it's been fun.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Michael.
Enjoy
Have
it.
a good day.